Well. Are we live? It seems like we're live. I realize I have no way to check if we're live because I'm actually using both devices at the same time right now. So we're going to find that out. So we're doing a live Q&A. I'm going to be building some wheels, bike wheels, these right here. I'm just going to double check to make sure everything here is working. And it's working. Great. Fantastic. Intro. Let's intro. Start recording. Alrighty. Did it freeze on me? Oh no, what's going on? Alright. Oh geez. Always a problem. Start recording. Alrighty. This is BFS Live episode 118. We're going to do a live Q&A. We're currently streaming on YouTube and on TikTok. I have some wheels I have to build for a customer. I figured why not build these wheels and do a live Q&A on multiple platforms. Shout out Ryan O'Rourke Realty. He gave me this koozie, so I guess we have a sponsor. So, I'm going to build some bike wheels and we're going to talk with whoever wants to talk. Feel free to drop your questions in the live chat, whether it be on YouTube or TikTok. I got both going here. If you're on TikTok, you're just looking at me. If you're on YouTube, we got a dual camera set up here where you are simultaneously seeing me and what I'm doing with my hands. I'm about to build these wheels. That's what we're going to do here. For any of you bike people in the chat, we're going to be lacing up a profile mini hub to an Odyssey 7KA, which is an iconic, classic rim combo. And if Brett, these are your wheels. If you end up in the chat, well, I'm building your wheels. You can watch me do them. So what we're going to do first, I'm going to take this wheel. I'm going to look down the spokes. We're going to drop one spoke in every other hole. This is a basic wheel building technique here. I've been building bike wheels for like 20 years. I could do them in my sleep. Let's see. First question. I like your skate park content. It's cool. Keep it going. We need more people like you. Thanks, dude. I appreciate that. There needs to be more people like me. And people like me are the people that are willing to work a lot and make not a lot of money because then, well, let me rephrase that. People who value the community enough that they can sacrifice the earned income they would otherwise get. There you go. There we go. So now I have one spoke in every other hole. I'm going to take my rim. I'm going to find the valve hole, which is right there in the middle for TikTok and then for Facebook or whatever. YouTube. Whoopsies. I'm going to take one spoke. I'm going to put my first spoke to the immediate left of the valve hole. Quite simply like that. And I'm going to put one nipple on the spoke. If you didn't know, that's what that is. It's a nipple. We're going to go around the rim every fourth hole. So, let's see. Next question. AI can never take over what the trades do. Yep, for sure. You know, in some of the skilled trades, you know, AI could probably design you a cool skate park. AI could probably make you a schematic to wire up a house. AI could probably generate you the perfect HVAC system for a house with all your static pressure or whatever that is. But AI is never going to be able to go into your house and physically run those wires and do that duct work. And for every home and job out there, it's way too specific. Rob from Fairport, yeah, the show was freaking awesome last night. Big fan. We had our 9-year anniversary party last night. It was out of control in a good way. Dude, last night was just magical at the skate park. There must have been 150 people here. It was just freaking awesome. Both the bands that played, God's Love and Pain's Present, were both phenomenal. The crowd was perfect. Now, let me tell you, I've been in bands. I've seen lots of shows. I've played lots of shows. And last night was special, man. There's like an it factor when it comes to live music or any sort of artists. And when the it factor is there, you can't really put your finger on what it is, but something magical happened here last night. It's the kind of thing if you wanted to try to, no matter how hard you could try to recreate what happened here last night, you couldn't. You could do your best to set up an arrangement in a way that maybe that could emerge in and of itself. But the concert last night and everything about the vibe was just so good. We raised over $800 for our friend Anthony, who recently got paralyzed through a unfortunate dirt bike accident. He was actually a mountain biker, and he used to ride here, and he was my UPS man. He was a super good guy. And so that was a benefit for him. So on a day that it was free to ride the skate park and free to see the free concert, you people showed up and you raised $812. Fan-freaking-tastic. Oh, we got Bernie in the chat on YouTube. I wish there was a market for indoor skate parks here in Fort Worth, Texas, where I live. We used to have a few around the Metroplex many years ago, but they're all gone. I could still smell the pads and the dust. Oh, yeah, dude. Many people might know there's a skate park smell. I can't smell the skate park smell anymore. It's tragic. People walk into the skate park and they go, it smells like skate park. And I'm immune to that smell because I basically live in a skate park, and that's pretty sad. But when I do walk into other skate parks, I can kind of smell it. I can definitely smell it. As far as the wheel building, you smelled bacon last night, Rob, because Bailey, the guy who was wearing the tuxedo, he was using my Blackstone, and he was making venison wrapped in bacon. So the reason you smelled bacon is because someone was, in fact, cooking bacon, which is not uncommon at the skate park. I'm always cooking food because I basically live here. As far as the wheel build goes here, I'm on the other side of the rim already, and I forgot to tell you what I did or how I did it, so I guess I'm going to keep on just doing my wheel build here and shooting the stuff. Dude, there's a lot of... I got a smoker here at the skate park and a grill and a Blackstone, and because I'm here all the time, I basically work... let's see. I'm open. The skate park's open for 12 hours on Friday, on Saturday and Sunday, and it's open for 10 on Friday. So I almost work 40 hours, just Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And when I'm here for 12 hours, I obviously have to eat. So it's not uncommon for you to come to Breaking Free Skate Park on like a Sunday, and it smells delicious because I'm smoking a pork belly outside the back door. But yeah, it's a good time. Yeah, it was. Rob said he's so happy he came out, and he hasn't been to a skate park in a decade, and the show was great. Shout out. How's it going, Danny, in the chat? It's going great. I'm building this bike wheel for our friend, Brett. His name's Brett. He spent a lot of money on these hubs because these are American-made hubs. They're very expensive. All right, let me talk about the wheel. All right, here's my valve stem right here. This is where the valve would go through. And my hub can twist to the left or my hub can twist to the right, right? Either way, the hub can twist. And this will dictate where the valve sits. So if I spin my hub this way, this will cross over that way, and the valve will be in the correct place. So if that made any sense, it made any sense. One day I'll do a real video about wheel building, but for now, we're just doing it live. Pretty much all wheels on all bikes these days are what they call 3-cross. So you'll put your spoke in and it goes over, under, or under, over, depending on which spoke it is. And if you've done it right so far, basically it'll line up exactly where it needs to go. And that's just how wheel building goes. So, yeah. Today I've been just hammered with messages from people last night at the concert. Everyone just saying how awesome it was. Like I said, there was probably 150 people here at the skate park last night. It was just unfreaking believable. One of my favorite things about last night, or this was actually earlier in the afternoon, two of my customers I've known forever, Harry and AJ. AJ, his father is a lawyer, and he, pro bono, he filed for my LLC for free. Basically, I knew his whole family from summer camps and all this stuff. So when I started my business over 9 years ago, he did it for me. He actually eventually did the legal stuff, and I bought my home as well, which is great. So AJ, who I've known since he was probably, I don't know, 9 years old, and Harry, who I've also known since he was probably 8 or 9 years old, they roll up and they're like, dude, happy birthday, 9 years. And Harry hands me a 4-pack of my favorite beer. And AJ hands me a friggin' bottle of Jack Daniels. And it's so funny because I've known these kids since they were like 10 years old. And now they're friggin' in the skate park, old enough to buy liquor and give me a bottle of Kentucky straight bourbon. Unbelievable, dude. Let's see. Tyler in the chat says, can I get a free scooter? Mine's about to break. I'm sure you might be able to get a free scooter somewhere. Not for me. I own a skate park, sir. Not a free scooter park. If you were local and you needed parts for your scooter, I could certainly help you find people that can get you stuff. I often have a stash of parts, bikes, scooters, skateboards, all that stuff around the skate park for people who are in need, because, you know, we're all family, and when someone needs something, you help them out. Stevie is tripping on Stevie having a beard. That's funny. Brother, I'm from the 585. Let's go. Dude, I'm starting to do these TikTok live streams, and they're incredible, dude. I never knew TikTok live stream was a big deal. Right on YouTube right now, I got 0 concurrent viewers, which is crazy. And on TikTok, I've got a steady stream of people coming in the chat. So maybe TikTok's the move, because we normally stream live every Wednesday, and it's always on YouTube. We do a podcast, interview-style podcast. But today we're just doing this because I had to stay late to catch up on work because I got a lot of stuff to do. And I was like, you know, I got to build these wheels. So why don't I just build these wheels and talk? Because all I ever do is talk these days. So here we are. Tyler says, what can you rent a skate park at the scooter? What? What can you rent at the skate park? How much? At my skate park, I have rental skateboards and scooters for $10, rental bikes for $15, and I have pads, but the pads, you do not have to pay to rent the pads. You are free to just take the pads if you need them. Also, if you rent a scooter or skateboard at my skate park, it is interchangeable. You can trade it out, one for the other. How about that? Do you sell pads and helmets? I do sell pads and helmets, although helmets, dude, helmets are freaking crazy in the post-COVID, post-tariff, and post-ProTech and 888, two of the biggest helmet companies merged together. I'm not sure which one bought who, and now the cost of helmets. Here's a little look behind the curtain. Forever, I charged $40 for helmets, and then eventually I had to turn to $50. But I tried to keep it at $40. I think $40 is a fair price for a helmet. I would typically buy helmets from the distributor for about $21, sometimes a little more, maybe $26. So I could sell them for like $40 or $45 and get a decent margin on it. And then basically for the last year or so, it's been really hard to get helmets. The 888 helmets now look different than they used to. They're clearly manufacturing them in a different way. So I don't know. Again, I don't know what happened with that merger. And now the cheapest I can buy a helmet at my cost is like $36. So in order for me to get a decent margin on a helmet now, they should realistically be like $60, $65 for the same helmet that used to be $45, which is just way too, I think that's too much for a helmet. So I've been stocking this other brand of helmets called Industrial, which are a little bit, they're not as nice, but I could sell them for $55 instead of $60, which is just crazy, dude. But that's how it is. Yeah, it's really tough, man. It's funny. I've gotten these comments in on my videos where people, you would think based on my comment sections on the internet, there would be like, 1,000 indoor skate parks, because seemingly everyone apparently knows everything about indoor skate parks. People are always telling me, what I should be doing, right? And so I've had more than one person say, a skate park will never be sustainable making money just on session sales. You have to sell product. That's where you make your money. And that is literally the opposite of what is true. I'll give you a little basic economics, little homework for you, or economics discussion. if I take $100,000 into my cash register selling sessions at the skate park, I then have $100,000 to pay rent or whatever else I need to do with that money. If I sell $100,000 of, say, skateboard product at my shop, I would be lucky if I came away with $40,000 that I could use towards my business, because the margins, and that's the difference between what you pay for something and what you sell it for, the margins on skateboarding stuff are terrible. You are lucky to get a 40% margin on a skateboard product. Sometimes it's less. Scooters have the best margins. Bikes are a mixed bag, and skateboard margins are terrible. I only stock generic replacement $40, mini logo decks in the skate shop here because they're affordable. If I wanted like the cool, pick whatever brand is in fashion right now, the cool new graphics that just came out, those boards will cost me almost $40. So then I could retail it for maybe $60. Then I only make $20 to sell a $60 skateboard. It's pretty rough. Oh, we got someone in the chat said they're trying to buy 3 helmets for their kids. Listen, I'll tell you the trick. This is the trick right now. If you go to Ollie's, I don't know if Ollie's are just in New York or whatever. Ollie's has ProTech helmets. They're $9.99. So at the same time, I can't get a ProTech helmet for less than like between $36 and $42 at my cost. You can go into a wholesale outlet store like Ollie's and buy a ProTech helmet for $9.99. It's crazy. Shout out Nick Brandrith. He said, "You must get to ride all the time." Yes, I do. Look at me riding my bike right now. So here's my wheel all kind of laced up now. Yeah, it's kind of crazy right now with the all that stuff. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I did go to the Ollie's in Webster and Henrietta, and I cleared out every helmet they had in stock so I could resell them. That's it's the world we live in, I guess. Oh. I don't know how I'm going to set up this truing stand in a way I can still talk. Yeah, it's weird. The market is weird. The market's very weird right now. And the bike industry, the skate industry, everything's kind of messed up right now. It's not great. And I have a lot of thoughts on that. And I'll probably tell you about it because what else am I going to do? I'm on a live stream here. I got to set this, somehow true this wheel in a way that I could see the camera and the camera could see me. So when I was lacing this wheel up, I pull every nipple just so I could see about one thread in it, and then that's my starting point. So based on how this feels right now, I'm going to go around and get every one of these spokes 5 turns, and that's going to be my kind of starting point for tension on this wheel that I'm building. So there's that. Let's see. I'm hopping on the live a little bit and stop by Student Skate. Cool. Do you skate or anything? Says Tyler. Of course. You can see my video. I get to ride all the time. 5 turns every spoke. Yeah, I ride bikes and scooter and skateboard because that's I don't skate park. We think I'm not going to do those things? It's crazy. 4 or 5, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't get to skate as much as I used to because I'm running a skate park. I do like to ride my bike. When I travel, I always bring my bike and my board. And when I go to a skate park for, like, say, my skate park reviews, and I kind of decide, based on how the skate park looks, which device I want to take out and ride. And, yeah, that's kind of the deal. Let's see. Repaint and rebuild the wheel. I'm not repainting nothing. What scooter tricks can I do? I don't know. Nick Branrith in the chat says, do you like building BMX wheels or mountain bike wheels? Well, mountain bike wheels are easier to build because there's more room to work with. So, I mean, it's about 6 one, half dozen the other. If you like building wheels. I love building wheels. Although this is proving to be challenging to try to have a conversation and read 2 live chats and count to 5 at the same time. It's pretty tough. Oh, you're going to paint your daughter's bike in the live chat. Yeah, that's cool. 4. What kind of bike does your daughter have? Is it a BMX bike? That's a nice Christmas gift from Dad. Rebuilding the bike. Bikes are the best gift. That's new bike day. That's like a holiday in and of itself. I've never had a new bike. It's funny. I always buy used bikes because I'm cheap, and I think the bike industry is out of control, and the cost of bikes these days is just freaking bananas, dude. It's crazy, dude. I ride mountain bikes a lot. Before I had my daughter and stuff, I was riding bikes maybe 4,000 miles a year. I would never ride less than 100 miles in a week, sometimes upwards of 200 miles in a week. But I still never bought a bike new. I always bought used bikes. And nowadays you go to the mountain bike trails or whatever, and everyone you see everywhere is on like a $4,000 mountain bike. It's crazy. I don't know how people have all this money. Maybe it's because they don't own skate parks. Let's see. Rob said, you got a Gap XL. That's cool. I've been selling Gap XL since 2010, maybe. Back before I moved to Rochester, I ran a sick bike shop in New Jersey. And one year, I think it might have been 2009, 2008, somewhere in there, we sold over 100 Fit complete bikes. And on top of selling Fit, we also sold Kink, Eastern, and Harrow. So I've been doing it for a while. You know, the thing about the industry is the thing that the markets don't like is uncertainty. So while many people are like, oh, it's the tariffs, it's like, yeah, it is the tariffs because the tariffs affect the cost. But also the thing that's worse than the tariffs is the uncertainty around the tariffs, like the tariffs on, the tariffs off, the tariffs on, now it's this much. So companies don't know what to do when the price of their product is changing all the time. So their default, they're just going to raise the price. So no matter what happens, they're kind of like, okay, you know? Oh, my buddy, we had a Giant Talon 2 in the chat. That's a good mountain bike. That was a 29er. Or at least used to be. Yeah, I'm actually... Jay Young says our Odyssey part's still big. Yeah, this is an Odyssey 7K rim I'm building right now, which is a rim that has been around for forever. This rim is a great rim. They still make it. It's insanely expensive. I think these rims are like $109 retail now. Crazy. They used to be $70. But that, again, that's how it is, you know? It's crazy. I used to be like a sponsored BMX rider, and I would never pay the price that they're charging for BMX frames these days. It's like literally insane. Like some of these BMX frames are $500 now. They used to be like $250. It's crazy, dude. I don't even know how something can become that expensive when it's seemingly the same product. Oh, we got some 7Ks in the chat. Hell yeah. I also have 7K rims on my BMX bike. I've had them rims for a long time, although I do not ride profile hubs because I do not like profile hubs. I think they're awful. I built the same set of wheels, Cinema. Yeah. I feel that. These 7K rims were on Cinema hubs until about an hour ago, and I cut them out with bolt cutters because that's what I do. Just rip them apart. I'll tell you what, this is the appropriate spoke length of this hub, but these spokes feel really long. They might be cut a little bit longer than they're supposed to be. Colony, yeah, that's an Australian brand. All right, we're bumping now. We got people in the live chat on YouTube. We got people in the live chat on TikTok. That's our new thing, streaming on TikTok. Seems to work out. Yes, sir. Dude, BMX bikes are the best. You know, I love skateboarding. Everyone loves skateboarding. As I've said in the podcast, like every BMX rider wishes they were a skateboarder, right? But the nice thing about the bike is the bike gets you around, you know? You can, like what I did all of my youth is just ride street in all the cities up and down the East Coast. And you can just park your car, get on your bike, and just go. I guess you could bring a bike and a skateboard to ride street. But man, I imagine pushing all over the city all day long, riding street would probably get pretty old pretty quick. Dude, these spokes are definitely too long. That's a bummer. This guy, let's see, Rob used to live in Pittsford. He biked to school and to the skate shop in the village. There's a skate shop in the village of Pittsford. Can the spoke pattern be changed? Yeah, you could do four cross instead of three cross spokes. It would be a little bit stronger, a tiny bit heavier because the spokes would be longer. When you go on, you can find online spoke calculators, and you can put in the rib and the hub you want, and it'll tell you what length you need. And sometimes they'll give you the option of doing radial, which is spokes not crossing, or if you're going 4 cross, 3 cross, whatever it is. I've done BMX wheels for so long that I can kind of look at a hub and a rim and kind of be like, oh, it's going to be this size, because I've built hundreds, if not thousands of wheels in my day. Built all of them. Every bike I own, I built the wheels on. Like as I said, I don't buy new bikes because I can't afford new bikes, but I buy used bikes and then I'll fix them up. You know, that's like the BMX guy in you, you know. In the mountain bike culture, road bike culture, people are going to buy like a $5,000 bike, a $3,000 bike, and then they're like, this is my bike, I ride it. In the BMX world, you customize your stuff. You all know. You scooter, you skateboard. You want to customize your bike. Oh, yeah, we had a We the People. I used to work at this bike shop, and the guy, rest in peace, Mike Gozik was his name. He had a MS, and eventually, that's what happens when you have MS, which is sad. Rest in peace, Mike Gozik. He used to call We the People weather people. It's kind of funny. Rob said, my fixie had a $150 hand job, and he loved it. How long were you live? What do you mean? How long have you been selling bikes for? Out of high school, I worked at a Toys R Us, and I did a lot of different stuff at that Toys R Us, but one of the things I ended up doing at that Toys R Us was building bikes. And then, so I graduated high school in 2005, and then I worked at Toys R Us for like a year or two, so I started working in the bike industry in my first bike shop in 2007. Yeah, yep, that checks out. Because I've been doing it for 19 years now, so... Do you remember the laptop? I have Hunter Biden's laptop. We found it in the foam pit, dude. You ever seen that video? Go find that video. It was all what was it? All the stuff we found in the foam pit video. We found Hunter Biden's laptop and the Epstein files. Those things turn up everywhere. It's crazy. What files? There are no files. Oh, I misread the question. It says, how long have you been biking for? I've been riding bikes my whole life. I've always rode bikes. I got my first BMX bike, like real BMX bike, was a 2000 or a 2001 Harrow Shredder. And I had like a jump in my yard, like many people, like that's your first taste of BMX. I got a jump in my yard. And I was in, 7th or 8th grade. And my buddy, who ultimately got me into riding, Tom Molyneux, his name is, he had a BMX magazine. I remember we were in class. It was math class, I remember. And I looked over at this magazine, and I was like, holy crap. I think almost everyone in this chat, in both YouTube and TikTok here, is going to have that same moment, hopefully, where you realized that skateboarding or BMX was more than just like the thing. There was the whole subculture. I was just, riding my bike, doing a jump in my yard. I didn't know that there was magazines and videos, and yeah, it was crazy. And then by the time I was a freshman in high school, I really was like a BMX rider and skateboarder. But I was more in the BMX world than skateboarding. It just kind of fit my body type better, I guess. But I can skateboard too. Jared in the chat, ramp builder, respect the content. Thank you, Jared. I'm doing the best I can. How long have you been biking for? I have been biking forever. Yeah, I was actually already answering that question. Yeah, so started riding in 2001. No, I guess it was about when I was 14, 2001, I would say, when I really started biking. My first video section came out when I was, I put out a DVD, a full-length DVD in 2007, I think. and I had a section of my friend's video that came out maybe in 2005. So I had my first video part in 2005, and then, yeah, I've had a lot of video parts. My name's Dave Raffa, R-A-F-F-A. If you were to YouTube my name, you'd find plenty of bike videos. If you go to the YouTube channel, Breaking Free Skate Park YouTube channel, there's a playlist called like the BFS Video Archive, I think, and there is all the old DVDs and bike videos I made back in the day, going all the way back to high eight tapes. Some of these cameras are behind me. If you guys see in the chat, this camera over to whatever the first one here was my first real camera. That is a Panasonic DVX 100, and then the camera next to it is an HPX 170. I got that camera as a payment for making a video of Jaden Mucha. If you know who he is, he ended up being shout out Lindley in the chat. He was on Kink and Fly Bikes for a minute. He did some of the Vans Cup stuff. Really talented rider. Let's see. What's the worst crash you've been through? Well, I don't have front teeth, so about 15 years ago, I had a pretty bad crash, and I knocked my front teeth out, and my teeth came through my face right here, and I broke my nose and fractured my sinus. It was pretty bad. That was about my worst one, for sure. Although, like, I don't particularly remember it because I got blasted. The people that were there said I didn't get knocked unconscious. They said I got up, but I don't remember it. So that's what, just think about it. Anyone that does a sport at a high level for a decade or more, whether it be even baseball, skateboarding, pick it. Like, you're going to have a bad injury. You can't do something at a high level and not, have it catch up to you in some way, shape, or form. That's just, you got to pay to play, It could be volleyball, could be skateboarding. Like, it's going to happen. And as far as BMX goes, the 3 injuries that happen in BMX, there's the 3 big ones. It's blasting your face on the ground, knocking some teeth out. It is the ACL, tearing the ACL, or it is the tib fib, the break in your leg, tib fib. Those are the 3 that happen most commonly in BMX. And honestly, the face one, I don't mind the face one. The recovery wasn't bad, although I had pretty bad PTSD from my crash, but I got through that. The tib fib, man, I've had a lot of friends that broke their leg with the tib fib, and that is not a fun one. Yeah, and like the ACL, you tear your ACL, you're not riding for a while. It's like you got to ease into riding. That's not fun. But that's it. That's the nature of the beast, I don't really like talking about the negative parts of action sports. It's like a dumb thing where there's this perception in skate parks and skate culture, like, people always come into the skate park and they're like, dude, people get broke off here all the time. It's like, no, it almost never happens. It's one of the coolest things is people almost never get hurt here. People in action sports really do pace themselves. So the bad injuries almost never happen. I've had about 1 a year for 9 years, and I probably could name every single one because they're so rare. We actually had a pretty bad one yesterday. A small kid got hit in the face with a scooter. The kid took it like a champ, like an absolute champ. I'm going to do a video about it soon. I have the security footage of the incident that happened. It's actually a pretty crazy incident. If you're familiar with our skate park, there's a step-up jump going from the bowl into the mini ramp, and 2 kids dropped in on either side at the same time. And you all know what happens. Like, you're going across the skate park, you lock eyes with someone, you're like, oh crap, we're heading toward each other. And then one of you jukes left or one of them jukes right. Well, they both saw each other and they both tried to turn the same way to get out of the way. And the older kid was also, they're both on scooters. The older kid on the scooter, he went left, and the other kid also went his left. So then that kid, basically threw his body to the right and his scooter to the left to try to avoid the little kid, because the little kid was probably about 7. And as the guy kind of flailed his scooter, he kind of tried to throw it over the kid, and the scooter caught the kid right in the forehead. The clamp of the scooter got him right above the eye. And I'm telling you, this kid had a split in his forehead that was probably probably 1.5 inches wide, and when I saw it, it was probably opened up about 3/4 of an inch. It was super gnarly, and that kid is tough as freaking nails, dude. That kid took it like I've seen grown men get hurt and cry like babies, call for their mom. This 7-year-old kid had this gash in his forehead like I've never seen, and he was just like, "Dad, do I got to get stitches?" And he's like, "Yeah, we got to go right now to get you stitches." He's like, "Oh, Dad, are stitches going to hurt?" He's like, "Yeah, they're going to hurt." And he's like, "Oh, man." Meanwhile, he does a freaking hole. He just stuck his thumb into his freaking forehead. Super gnarly. I'm going to have that video out in the next couple of days. We're going to do like a frame-by-frame breakdown of the crash. It's going to be pretty good. You know how I do. I make it entertaining. So we'll do that soon. And yeah, that kid, oh man. Aside from the kid getting hurt, last night was epic. Let's see. Sean Hallow Productions in the YouTube chat says, "Do you listen to music while riding?" I don't wear headphones when I ride, if that's like the question. I always thought it was really rude when people wear headphones when they ride. Like, bro, like I thought we're here to hang out and be friends. You're going to listen to headphones? But when I do ride the skate park, I definitely put on music I want to ride to. And the music I listen to when I ride, it really depends on the vibe. It depends on what I'm feeling. It depends on what types of tricks I want to do. Unfortunately, I do like really fast and heavy music, but I don't ride like fast and heavy. I ride slow and low, so that doesn't really work out. But you could listen to fast music and ride slow, right? It's all about the vibe. But typically, it's like some metal stuff, you know? Everyone's got their, their shred album or their shred playlist. Everyone's got it, right? Let's hear it in the chat. Drop me some of yours. Rob said Iron Maiden was his skate music. That's a classic, Iron Maiden. A lot of people are really nostalgic about the music from like the first 2, 3, 4 Tony Hawk games. Those were like formative for a lot of kids. Or adults, I guess. It's good stuff there. I thought this would be a lot easier to try to multitask because I like have conversations with people at the skate park while building wheels, but trying to maintain 2 live chats and build the wheels is actually kind of harder. Let's see. Jesse says, "I love listening to live EDM sets from festivals. What do you ride, Jesse? Can we guess? Jesse listens to EDM when he rides. What's he ride? Rollerblades?" Rob said he listens to Goldfinger. We got Blink 182 in the YouTube chat. Which Blink 182 album? Uh-huh. Dude. I listen to, I like to listen to Pantera when I ride. I really like Pantera. It pumps me up. I listen to this Midwest emo band called Tiny Moving Parts. And it's totally different than Pantera. I also like this pop punk band from Chicago called Action Adventure. I've been really pumped on them for a while. I like this band called Ahab. Their first album is incredible. They're German nautical funeral doom for you metal guys. This band Blood Incantation I saw in Cleveland a couple months ago. Their album this year that came out, The Stargate, was absolutely incredible. I've been listening to that a lot when I ride in the skate park, you know. Back to Blink 182. GnarWrench and Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. Those are great albums. Classic. Iconic. Oh, I love all the doom metal, the sludge metal, Dope Throne, Electric Wizard, that stuff. That's fun to ride to. Like the sludge metal is fun for me to ride to because, again, I ride slow, so it's like, slow but heavy. Yep. This is the best skate park in New York. I mean, I don't know. I'm likely to be the best indoor in New York, but it's not like there's a ton of competition. I'm definitely better than Black Mamba in Syracuse. No offense, Scott. But depending on your particular flavor of skate park, I totally understand that many people love Food Court Skate Park in Buffalo. Very, very different vibe over there. I wouldn't be upset at all if someone said that's a better skate park. For those of you who don't know, Food Court is an indoor skate park in Hamburg, New York. It's just south of Buffalo. They're in a mall. They opened about maybe a year and a half ago. And it is a very plaza-oriented skate park. It's kind of like the Barracks vibe. It looks kind of like one of these Olympics courses for skateboarding. It's their demographic at that skate park in Buffalo is very much for experienced skateboarders. It's they're doing contests. Like it's a very different thing they're doing there than we're doing here at Breaking Free Skate Park. We are for everybody, and the problem of trying to be for everyone is it's never going to be good for everybody. It'll be good enough, right? My skate park is not great for skateboards. It's not great for bikes. It's not great for experts. It's not great for beginners. But it walks that line where it's kind of good for all of them, right? For every skateboarder that comes in here and says, oh, this is a bike park, I get a biker that comes here and complains because he can't ride half of my skate park because it's too small. And then while the majority of my users actually are beginners, there are people that look at my place and they go, oh my God, your ramps are too big. It's not beginner friendly enough. So the fact that I hear the same kind of complaints across the whole board makes me believe I'm actually doing the right thing by, what do I say? I'm weaving that line between, a little bit of everything. There are elements of my skate park that are, all right, there's a bike jump line. Clearly, it's just for bikes, right? The mini ramp, that's pretty much entirely skate-oriented. The scooter kids will ride everything. The scooter kids are great. They love everything. Have you been to the Honeoye Falls DIY? I have not been there. I've had tenuous encounters with some people involved with that. But I do love other people, so I don't know. I kind of respect the Honeoye Falls DIY skate park because it is entirely skateboard operated. And like I said, most of the time I ride bikes, so I kind of respect that it's like a skateboard kind of vibe there, so I kind of don't. And the kind of ramps they built at that DIY are not the kind of stuff I skateboard. I like to skateboard little mini ramps. That's kind of the only thing I like to skateboard. Little mini ramps and little flow bowls. Like I skateboard like how you think a 40-year-old would skateboard. Let's see. Someone in the chat, TikTok. I'm a scooter kid. You probably don't remember me, but I used to come with Dion. Dion runs Lennox Skate Park in, I think it's Canastota. It's like past Syracuse heading towards Albany, right? No, what's between Albany and Syracuse? Utica. It's like between Syracuse and Utica. It is an outdoor old school outdoor wooden prefab park over there in central New York. And Dion is a scooter kid who kind of like manages that little park there. And he does a great job. He's a really good dude. He comes here in the winter. We talk about skate park stuff. His park is more of like a town amenity where my understanding is you buy like a pass for like the way you'd buy a pass for the public pool, but this awesome random town has this sick skate park. And Dion, I guess, maintains it. And Dion's a man. He had a video premiere here a couple weeks ago. Shout out Dion. Dude, Western New York is sick, honestly. Or Central New York State. I don't know. All of New York is pretty great for action sports. Especially the scooter community is actually phenomenal in New York. I say it all the time. People don't like it, but the scooter scene in New York is better than all the other scenes, and it's not even close. There are awesome scooter scenes in Buffalo and Rochester and Syracuse, and they show up for each other. Like if there's a scooter event in Syracuse, they all go to Syracuse. If there's a scooter, like they're just always traveling. The scooter scene very much reminds me of what BMX was like 20 years ago when it was way more grassroots, right? And skateboarding is so big, it's kind of like BMX is 10 years or so behind skateboarding, and then scootering is like 10, 15 years behind BMX. Wait, skateboard, then BMX, then scooters. And not much happens in the inline world. Although it was Blade Night tonight, and there was a couple rollerbladers here, so shout out my rollerblade homies. Outdoor. Yeah, the outdoor wood ramps are definitely a ballsy move, but you have to have this. You have to buy skate light. You have to spend the money, the $200 a sheet to have the all weather. You can buy skate light, or there's a product called Gator Skins. You have to have that product on your ramps, and you need to have good airflow underneath your ramp so the moisture doesn't sit there, and you probably want to use decking screws or something coated or stainless. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of things to keep in mind if you're doing an outdoor park made of wood. There was an outdoor park made of wood in Newark, New York, which is maybe 30, 40 minutes east of Rochester, and they had an old park that was never open, and they called me years ago to go look at some damage on their ramps. So I went there, met some guys from the town. I told them I had to take apart the ramp to see why it was collapsing. The rot inside of this skate park ramp was really, really bad. And so then they asked me what can we do about this. So I said, all right, this is what you could do to fix your skate park. You can take this part off of the ramp. You could rebuild that. You could do this. And they're like, what would that cost? I was like, I don't know what that would cost. I can tell you, based on the way I build ramps, what materials you would need to repair this ramp, and then you can decide what you want to do. So I left, and I never heard back from the town of Newark again, and they tore down the skate park. And I have like a whole tin of stainless steel Torx screws from when I took it all apart. And they're like, oh, they don't want to spend any money on it, and let's just freaking tear it down. And that's really sad, because it's freaking how it is. Hold on. Sean in Action on YouTube says, what's your favorite skate park? Dude, I don't even know, man. I'm like let down by every skate park I ever go to. And I think there's like this, I think when you're a kid, you want to ride so bad. And so every park and everywhere you ride just seems freaking incredible. And then you get older and like, it just isn't, I don't know. There's just magic when you're young and you're obsessed with riding. And then when you get older, it's hard to be that obsessive because there's so much other things happening in your life. It's hard to really, really like have that obsession, And I think back to the skate parks that I like was obsessed with when I was a kid, and I look at the pictures now and I'm like, damn, I rode that every day. There's like nothing even there, dude. Crazy. I really like Ray's Mountain Bike Park in Cleveland. I just have a preference for wood ramps because that's just like what I've been around for years. I like the feel of wooden ramps over concrete. Concrete is scary. It freaking hurts. If you've ever fallen on a concrete skate park, it's awful no matter what happens, right? And Ray's Mountain Bike Park is a lot of BMX oriented stuff. And I know Paul, the builder there, and he builds really freaking cool stuff. And every year they're building new stuff and adjusting and changing. And he's a builder with a lot of creativity. So he builds some stuff. Like, look up, if you don't know, if you've never heard of Ray's Mountain Bike Park, look up Ray's Mountain Bike Park, look up the Moon Room. Look at this place they built called the Moon Room. It is the coolest thing you'll ever see in your life. The way he builds it, you could only bike it. You could not skate it or scooter it. But it's a really interesting idea, and it is just absolutely incredible. As far as someone said, have you been to any skate parks in Canada? The only indoor place in Canada I've been to is Joyride 150, which is another bike park. I've been to many of the outdoor skate parks that are in that like Ontario Hamlin area. So like Port Jervis and Port Colborne. Not Port Jervis, it's Port Colborne. And there's another one. And then, oh man, something Hill over there. When you jump into Canada from Buffalo, you can like bounce around to all these cool little concrete parks. So we used to do that like once a year and like hit them all up. Niagara Falls. There's a skate park on the America side of Niagara Falls and the Canada side. Someone help me out if you're from that part of New York. I know one of them is Port Colborne. Port Colborne Skate Park is a really cool skate park. It's like right along a canal. It's kind of a cool layout. And then there's another one we rode that had like almost like a clover kind of bowl. That was pretty fun. Yeah. Someone said BC's good. Vancouver, BC. Yeah, the skate parks out there are freaking crazy, dude. Again, I don't ride big ramps. I'm like a tech guy. I like slow and low, and in my older age, I like flow. Slow, low, and flow. Those are the things I like to ride. So give me some ledges and some rails that are kind of like approachable. Give me some stuff I can jump. Give me some hips. I love hips. I want a skate park with like a flow bowl that's between 3 to 5 feet where I can go kind of hip left, hip right, hip left, and the hips are mellow enough that you can like do a 270 or a 450. You don't want to like pee your pants because it's so scary. That's what I want. Let's see what we got here. Did you ever ride East Coast Terminal? Dude, East Coast Terminal, I only got to ride there once, and I had only been riding BMX for like 2 years when I went there. And East Coast Terminal was this crazy, awesome skate park in Binghamton, New York. It was like dark and dingy, and like it was just that old school vibe. Oh, that place was epic. And whenever people bring it up and they say my skate park reminds them of ECT, I take it as the biggest compliment ever, because that place is like the iconic East Coast skate park. So, yes. What education do you have? I have no education. I'm full retard. I know you're not supposed to go full retard, but I am. No. I barely made it out of high school. I never did any homework. I never read a book. I didn't do anything. I did some college. I didn't learn anything in college. I went to a community college. It was kind of a joke. I'm dyslexic. I didn't know I was dyslexic until I was like 30. I just knew I really struggled with reading. I really struggled with writing, with transposing what's in my head onto paper. It really didn't work for me. And for the longest time in my life, I actually just thought I was stupid. I knew I was a good problem solver and like a critical thinker, but I basically did every class in the community college I could, that except for the ones that were like lectures and write papers, because I had such freaking like panic, because I just couldn't do it. It just didn't work. And it was actually a friend of mine's mother, Jaden, who I mentioned earlier in the show. Jaden's mother was dyslexic and worked with dyslexic kids. And I was talking to Jaden's father, who gave me that camera behind me to make Jaden's first edit. Look that one up, Jaden Mucha edit. I was explaining to him how I struggled with that. And he said, dude, you're dyslexic. Like, talk to my wife. So I talked to her, and she was like, yeah, dude, you're dyslexic. There's different versions of dyslexia. This is your problem. And so around when I was 30, I realized like I could do audio books and long format. I always retain information well from listening, but if I have to like write and listen, it like cross wires and I don't remember anything. It's really, really bad. And I really struggle writing any email or anything, although AI has made my life a lot better. So I have some college, but officially on paper, I don't really have much of an education. But in the last 9 years since I turned 30, I have listened to over 100 books. So I have learned a lot, and I think it's fair to say I'm a fairly smart person, although the nature of what smart is like kind of weird. Oh, drop my smoke wrench. Hold on a second. So dyslexia, okay? Like I said, there's different versions of dyslexia. This is my understanding. I read this book called, I think it was called The Dyslexic Advantage. It's a great book. If you think you might be dyslexic, I'd recommend reading the book. But the general framework of the book is that most people's minds think A, B, linear. The dyslexic mind is like more of a web thinking mind. The dyslexic mind is trying to find connections, broader things, like the normal mind. And it's probably more of a spectrum than it's not like a duality. It's a spectrum, right? So many people can just follow a narrative, like the narrative structure of a story, and they're just fine. To where the dyslexic mind is the person who can like pull all the things together to write the story. Dyslexic people are disproportionately represented in CEOs of big companies, because these are people that can see all these pieces and bring them together. I think part of the reason why the skate park has lasted as long as it has is because I've been able to pull all these pieces together and put out all these fires, so to speak, and keep the dream alive through that, balancing act of, making it work. If you gave me, a 20,000 square foot empty room and said, build me a skate park, I don't think I'm the person you should call. I don't know where to start. But when we got this skate park, there was only one place the bowl would fit, right? There was only one place the mini ramp would go, right? The entrance was already there. I was like, all right, so now I have all these pieces of these 2 skate parks that closed and have these 2 really big things I need to work around. And I want to have a box jump line, so it has to go here. And this other ramp is built into the floor, so I can't move that. And then I did the best I could with what I had, which is very different than just like, hey, build me a skate park from scratch. Genuine question. How do one fund a private skate park? You mean, how do I stay open? Well, we just sell sessions. We just have people come in and they pay $20 for a session or $25 for 2 sessions or $30 for all day. And then we sell passes like a ski slope, which is like $80 a month for weekdays or $120 a month for all the days. And I have to do everything under the sun. I teach lessons. I do all the ramp work myself. I try to coordinate with volunteers to help me. I host the podcast. I have to minimize every cost and try to maximize anywhere you could find a penny. That's what it's like running any business, but especially one that's like this. It's really, really challenging business. Can you listen to Trevor Harmony's music when you have time? Maybe I could try to remember that. Did you figure out the dual camera? Yeah, TikTok was doing this weird thing on my screen where I couldn't turn off the dual camera. It was crazy, and I had to like put it in practice mode, and it was weird. But I digress. Let's see. Rob Hovey, shout out Rob Hovey in the YouTube chat. He said, "She was my teacher in elementary school, and she's the best." And I found out later when I met Jaden that she was my teacher. That's lovely. That's lovely. Stuff like that happens all the time at the skate park where you find out, oh, I know him. I knew you from there. And it turns out your mom was there. Blah, blah, blah. Beautiful. Like I always say, the skate park, it's about community. It's really not just riding. That's, like I said, the skate park in Buffalo is doing a totally different thing than I'm doing here. They are catering to really good skateboarders, and they're having competitions, and it's sick. It's really freaking cool. What I'm doing here is building a community, right? I'm not trying to make a facility. And how do I phrase this? I'm like building the community. I'm making my skate park a hub, and the community is surrounding that hub, and we're all going to work together. And people may leave the wheel, and other people join up into the wheel, but the community keeps going, right? That's different than just being like, oh, I have this sick skate park, and it's so sick, you should just show up and use it. I'm like, I want to be part of people's lives. I'm very, very aware that the kids that come to the skate park will remember this for the rest of their lives, the way I remember the skate parks I used to go to when I was a kid. And I tell kids that. There'll be some kids that come to the skate park, and they'll be riding, they're 14, they're 15, and I'll go to them and I say, listen, guys, you're not going to understand this. And when you do understand this, it'll be so much later. But I'm going to tell you guys right now, this is the best part of your life. The fact that your grandpa drives you your car full of you and your 3 best friends, 45 minutes, an hour away to come here, so you guys get to ride for 10 hours at the skate park. This is literally like the thing the rest of your life you'll think about those days. So I say you can never really understand and appreciate what you have until it's gone. But I try to tell the kids, like, this is it, man. Soak it all up. This is as good as it gets. It's not as good as it gets. Life gets better when you have kids and all kinds of stuff happens, but it's always a trade-off. But when you're 15 and your grandpa's bringing you to the skate park and you got no cares in the world other than, can I afford a Gatorade and a cup of noodles? And you just get, mom or dad taxi drivers you home when you're all sweaty and half asleep in the back of your car with your 2 best friends, like that is just, I think about that all the time. And that's why I do what I do. Because I know people think about this forever. Like last night, that 9-year party last night was freaking epic. The band's playing, freaking epic. The mosh pit, unbelievable. Like, it was magic last night. And many of the people that were here last night, some of those kids are going to remember this show at the skate park for the rest of their life. It might be they'll never be at a show that had the vibe that we had last night. Freaking epic. Let's see. Dave says, I'm new to the channel. Where's your skate park? My skate park is in Rochester, New York. I'm in a directly above me is a loft space that overlooks our foam pit. Directly to my left, next behind the screen wall, is our resi ramp. So I'm literally sitting in the skate park right now, as always. Yep, Sean in the chat saying, yeah, it's a true statement. Peak experience of life. 12 to 16 years old. You're made of rubber. You bounce off the ground. Incredible. What is this? Oh, hello. Yeah, this is incredible. This is like one of the most interactive live streams I've ever done, and I'm trying to build this wheel. It's like impossible to do. Let's see. Prince. I'll remember that forever. I've never experienced anything like that before. Oh, you haven't been to like a hardcore show? Like, yeah, if you've never been to a hardcore show and never seen like a hardcore mosh pit, it is definitely kind of polarizing at first because people are like flailing and running around. Because mosh pits are interesting. Like certain genres of music, mosh pits are just like pushing and shoving, and in certain genres of music, mosh pits are like arms flailing, and then you kind of this hybrid. And then some bands and some genres are more like kind of pushy and stage diving. It kind of depends on the generation of band and everything. So yeah, last night was pretty dope. The fact that we had everyone crammed into the shop made the vibe super, super, super intimate. It was awesome. The vibes last night, just like having like a hardcore band and people like moshing in the skate park, it was like freaking, God, is it 2001 again? It was 2001? Yeah, dude, it was so freaking awesome, dude. Oh, let's see. Sean says, coming from a place that does not have a park, the BFS community is shocking. It's great, dude. I've watched so many kids grow up. Like the family I've spent all my Christmases and Thanksgivings with up until this year, I met at the skate park. I filled up my car with whatever fit in my car, left my life behind, drove to Rochester to work at the old skate park. I left everything behind. I ended up ending a 10-year-long relationship. The girl I was with all through high school. Because I moved away, I took a big chance, and like for a long time, I was really not happy because of that. And it took a long time for the pieces to fall together. But you know, when you're pursuing your personal legend, the world will conspire to help you. You just have to look for the right signs. And now here I am. It's crazy. And every single one of my friends, I think I've met at the skate park. Like literally every person I know. It's crazy. Like Prince is in the chat here. I'm going to try not to cry telling the story, but I've been dealing with stuff at home this past year, and I was telling his mom and Prince during the mini ramp rebuild, and she's like, oh, can I say a prayer? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And I'm not like a religious person, but I was like, yeah, I'm like down. Let's do a prayer. And she just says like a very thoughtful little prayer about the situation. And I ended up just crying, like I'm crying right now. I'm just sitting on the couch covered in sawdust, like just crying. Because like, oh my God, like this person I'd never really met is just, the skate park brought me this person of compassion at a moment in my life. And all she said was, she just said what had to be said. I don't know. Yeah, now I'm crying. Good job. Let's see what we got here. I was never lucky enough to have an indoor skate park. Uh-oh. What's going on? Oh, that's weird. TikTok made me do a puzzle to confirm that I was a real person and not an AI. That's kind of crazy. I'm new to the TikTok thing. So I'll tell you a little bit about why Breaking Free has worked. Breaking Free has worked because of 50/50 skate park in Staten Island, formerly in Staten Island. They closed. They never made it through COVID. 50/50 skate park, Staten Island's part of New York. Real estate's really, really freaking expensive. And their skate park was really small. But what they did is he had his skate park branded as your home away from home. He did something different that I never saw a skate park do. It wasn't just like a big place you showed up, you paid the money to the guy, the register doesn't give a shit. It was like, hey, here's me and my wife and my dog and my beautiful daughters, and this is our skate park. And when we do rebuild projects, you're all going to be a part of it. And he was the first person I saw that really made a skate park a community, 100%. And when I moved here and worked at Rasp Skate Park, I saw what wasn't working for Rasp. And I used to go to Incline Club in New Jersey when I was a kid, and I saw what did work for them. What worked at Incline Club is they were very strict. Like, it was like militant. I never felt like anyone that worked there ever gave a shit. It was like, you cannot get past this door into the skate park unless we double check your stuff. And like, it was like, there was no nonsense. If you broke the rules, you got kicked the hell out. Like, it was no bullshit. So when I started my skate park, I was like, I want the no bullshit attitude of Incline Club Skate Park, but I want this is your home away from home. We're all part of the same story, the same shared thing as 50-50. So literally, that's it. Like, my skate park is 50-50 skate park and Incline Club mashed into another philosophy where it's just like, if you go all the way back on our channel, we did a ton of vlogs in 2016 when we're building the skate park, and I look a bit younger, and I'm not as good as talking to the camera, but we put out tons of videos back then. And I was trying from the very beginning to craft a narrative, right? I wanted people to feel like there was an ongoing story that is the Breaking Free story, and that everyone's a part of it, whether you come every day or once a month or once a year. I wanted people to, like, when they show up and be like, dude, what has changed? What happened since last time? What did I miss anything? I wanted it to be not like gossip, but just like an evolving narrative that people felt like they were a part of. And I think for a while I kind of slipped on that and let that slide away. During COVID, I picked back up. We did a whole series during COVID called Quarantined. If you go on our YouTube channel, you can find that. I did all these vlogs during COVID. I made flat rails out of metal I had, and I was going out on the streets and I was putting flat rails. I was making spots that people could ride during COVID because the skate park wasn't open. And it was pretty cool, pretty freaking cool. And, you know, it's been really tough since COVID for me. The business never rebounded from COVID. It's been actually quite terrible. I've been every year for the past 3 years, I keep saying this is probably my last year. I can't keep doing this. And every year I keep finding ways to spend a little less money and bring in a little more money, whether it be side work or working more. And last year I said, you know what, like, I want to get to my 10-year mark, and I'm going to do it. So I'm going to double down. I listened to a few friends. Nick Parlett, plumbing skater, who's on one of the first episodes of this version of this podcast. I started exactly a year ago, and he does social media content. He makes a lot of money doing it. So he said, dude, just put out a video every single day and don't stop, and just learn from what works in your videos and just keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it, and it's going to work out. And now it's been a year of me doing that, and it's been a lot of freaking work doing a weekly live show and all the content. And I have literally in the last week, everything just exploded for me. I have almost 7 million views on YouTube this week. I have over 1 million views on TikTok this week. I have 2 million views on Facebook in the last 28 days. I have made my income on Facebook revenue from views is $750 for this month. And I just got monetized on TikTok. The YouTube monetization should be coming. And I mean, it was a lot of work. It wasn't hard. It wasn't hard insofar it was just keep doing the thing. And that's what I've always done. I just kept grinding. If you want to be a content creator, like, all you got to do is pick your stick and just go with it every single day. And that's what I did. In addition to running the skate park, I run a bike shop out of the skate park, and I maintain a bike share company on the side. So I drive to Buffalo, Syracuse, and Watertown once a month, April through October. And I maintain 27 locations that have between 5 to 10 bikes. So I squeeze that in on top of everything else, and watching my daughter during the day. And I did this because I said, I'm gonna grind hard as fuck for a year and see if I could, like, actually make it happen again. And I can tell you, I'm working as hard this year as I did when I started my business. And it hasn't been easy. There's been times I'm putting out videos every day and my views suck, and there's no engagements and it feels like it's pointless and I'm stressed out and running out of video ideas. And there's been plenty of nights I go to leave the skate park here late at night and I literally sit in my car and I'm just like crying because I'm just like so worn down. Like, dude, when is, and thanks to, Prince, who I mentioned earlier, like I started to pray a little bit and I don't even know who I'm praying to, but I started asking, like, I don't know who I'm talking to, but someone's listening because shit's starting to work. I don't know. Let's see what we got. Let's see. I was never lucky enough to have an indoor I could ride. Yeah, indoor skate parks are just so rare. I get that on my channel all the time. It's just, there's not a lot of places that have indoor skate parks. It's just so hard. If you can't own a building, it's really, really hard, Yeah, I don't know. It's, I don't know, man. You just got to do the thing. I work my ass off and I don't make a lot of money, but it's grossly rewarding. I get to do this kind of stuff. This is really fun. I'm very fortunate that my wife totally understands. She understands that I'm in this like grinding phase and it's gonna get better. It's gonna get better, My wife and I have opposite schedules. So she works early mornings and I work in the evenings. So we don't have to pay for like daycare for our child because we couldn't really afford that. So my wife and I get to sacrifice time that we would otherwise get to spend together so the skate park can be open and so that my daughter gets the attention she deserves because she's amazing and beautiful. She's going to be 2 in March. And that's just like a joy, an absolute joy. But that's it. You grind. You don't give up and you keep grinding. And that's why I say it. I just keep saying it. Keep grinding. Y'all see me grinding out here. I can tell. Can you tell people how important it is to have a partner that supports your vision? It's huge, dude. One of my favorite parts about owning the skate park is getting to talk to young men. I think a lot of young men are like feel lost. I feel like there's a dearth of positive masculinity. I know I need to be that voice, One of the themes of my podcast indirectly is positive masculinity. If you look at our episodes, we are constantly talking about things that young men have done and what they learned through action sports that allowed them to persevere in another domain of their life, right? Or I had Googe on the show last week. This dude, he's like early 20s, managing a trail building crew at a downhill mountain bike in the park in the summer, building an A-frame cabin alone in the woods. Like, he's doing it. I want to find those people and have those conversations so other young men will be like, oh, I can do the thing. Like, the hardest part about doing the thing is that moment where you actually get up and you go do the thing. Once you're doing the thing, it's not that bad. The hardest part is just getting up. It's just that moment where you decide to, take a decisive moment where you go, I'm going to do the freaking thing. So do the freaking thing. And to bring this back to Prince's question, when it comes to finding a good life partner, you also have to do the thing, right? Don't half-ass the thing. Think about what you want and then find the person that can give you what you want. Don't just have fun. Don't treat women like they're expendable or something. Be upfront, be a man about it. Every other dude's like trying to slide in their DMs. Just walk up to her. Say, hey, this is my name. This is what I'm about. Would you like to get a drink sometime? Can I buy you a cup of coffee? Just be the only one who's being an actual gentleman. And then when you meet the woman, tell her, this is what I'm about. This is what I'm doing. This is how I would like my life to look. How would you like your life to look? And then organically decide whether those things are compatible. And if they are, move forward within like two adults having a relationship. Everyone's like, I see a lot of boys, and I don't see a lot of men. You don't just magically you're not just a man one day. You don't just like wake up one day and you're a man. Like you have to earn it. And and I'm sure it's the same thing for girls and women, but I can't really speak to that. But like there's definitely like a moment in your life where like you're a man now, you know? And for me, like, you know, when my father died, it was like, oh shoot, like I got to like take care of this. And you want to be the kind of person that can be the one that takes care of the stuff at your father's funeral. Like it's sad, or your mother or whatever. Like, you know, like, and I'm not saying, you know, bury your feelings. I'm saying like be strong enough to be like, okay, I can cope a little bit now. I got to take care of business. Someone's got to do it. And in due time, I can process those feelings the right way. Right. But just be an adult about it. I feel like everyone's just like scared of commitment. Everyone's scared of, like, they think, it seems like people think that choosing a goal is like defining the parameters of your failure. So they just don't even assign a goal. And then they're just lost because they don't even know where they're going, right? Like hold on, let me take a sip of water here. Say your goal structure in life, right? What is going on? People requesting to join. So you should have proper values in your life, right? And values are an interesting thing. Like my values are like being hardworking and being passionate, right? And I try to live my life in a way that when people meet me and they see what I do, they go, wow, that dude's hardworking and passionate. I'm like, because that's what I value in life, right? It's really hard to kind of see, like you think you value something and maybe you do, but we all know people in life who, like, everyone knows a dude who like cheats on all his girlfriends, right? And then his girlfriend like cheats on him and he's all like messed up. He's all messed up about it. And it's like, dude, like, you're like not allowed to be upset here. Like, this is what you do, right? And he'll say stuff like he likes his girlfriend, or like he acts like he values his girlfriend, but then he'll like cheat on his girlfriend. I was like, okay, so what you're saying and what you're doing are not in line with each other. Like, that's a really easy example. We all have these blind spots. So I think you have to live your life in a manner that the actions you take in life are actually in accordance with the things that you actually claim to value. But then you also have to be willing to admit that the way you act is wrong and you're an asshole a lot of the time or whatever. And your goals in life and your values in life should like meet in some sort of crosshair that gives you some sort of trajectory, right? And that trajectory creates kind of like a roadmap in front of you. It's like, all right, well, if this is what I value and this is what I want to do with my life, these are the things I need to do, right? So when young men fail to develop character and build a value structure around their life and define any goals, obviously they're going to feel lost because you don't know what you're doing or where you're going, right? And I think this is why action sports become so enveloping for many young men, because all of a sudden they're like, oh, I have this like progression-oriented thing now. I made these friends. I can go to the skate park or the spots, and all of a sudden you have some sort of structure. You know, whether it's the right long-term structure, maybe not. Like it's definitely a piece of your journey. You can meet good friends or whatever there, but you could learn a hell of a lot about skate parks, about life through skating and skate parks. So to bring that all back home, yeah, building community at the skate park means I get to talk to a lot of young men about their lives, and I get to do a podcast and live streams where I get to apparently ramble for an hour and 20 minutes about life based on 3 questions. So, yeah, freaking hell. Ashton Kutcher's rough looking, huh? That's me. I don't look like that guy. But yeah, I mean, that's why I'm here. That's why I have a skate park. That's why I have 100 videos and why I'm getting millions of views, because I said I'm going to do this thing for a year. And I got to almost exactly a year. And honestly, like a month ago, I was like, well, I've been doing this video thing for a year, and I got some traction, but it really hasn't taken off. And then just about the 1 year mark, my stuff started blowing up, almost like it was meant to happen, like that was a sign. Like I said earlier, when you are pursuing, your own personal legend, when you're trying to fulfill that thing that seems like it's a thing you need to do, the universe is gonna, I don't know, it's gonna do the thing it's gonna do. I don't know. Don't give up. I've been seeing your videos on Facebook. Good. Yeah, Facebook is the platform I do the best on right now, but my TikTok is starting to get there. I've exploded on YouTube in the last week, but Facebook's been like my best platform, I guess. That's also because most of I'm trying to reach young men and kids to inspire them to ride, but demographically across all the platforms, all my content is hitting more like 35 to 40-year-olds, 45-year-olds, which makes sense because that's the people that are most nostalgic about like indoor skate park stuff, because that was the era. I'd say probably 2002 was probably like the dead center mark for like the indoor skate park generation, right? I think around that era in Rochester, there was like at one point there was 3 indoor skate parks in Rochester at the same time. It's like unheard of. We got, this guy said he just bought his first board in 2016. That's great, dude. That's great. Skateboarding's awesome. I'm getting cabin fever. I want to skate January, Michigan. Where in Michigan you live? I like Michigan. That park in Detroit, downtown Detroit park, is freaking awesome. That's actually, I think, the best. I went there once, and I thought that was probably one of the best outdoor parks I've been to. Oh, you bought it at Breaking Free. Oh, how about that? In 2016. That's crazy. Yeah, you could look that up and open a browser. Right in downtown Detroit, they have an outdoor park that's freaking phenomenal. I think it was built by New Line, the same company did at the Rochester skate park, and it is way better than the Rochester skate park, in my opinion. And then north of Detroit, there's one of those green, what's the skate park company? Green something? One of those like wavy parks. It's in like 12 Mile or something up there. There's an indoor park somewhere north of Detroit too, when my buddy Jimmy lived up there, who's been on the show. He used to go there. Oh man, what we got going on here? I have more viewers in YouTube, but more live chat in TikTok. How about that? Fun facts. The more you know. Let's see. We'll never forget. Full setup. Trucks, board, tape, wheels, million stickers. Love seeing the page. What kind of deck did you buy? It's funny. I posted a video yesterday that was a video I made around our 5-year anniversary. And in that video, there's one clip where I'm sitting behind the counter, and it's like when we first opened, and there's like 6 skateboard decks. And one of those skateboard decks is the deck I'm riding now. It's a Blood Wizard deck, and I had it in the shop for like a year and a half, and no one bought it. And I was like, I guess I'll just ride this board. And that's the one I've been riding ever since. It's an 875 Blood Wizard deck. Someone saw it yesterday at the party and was like, can I buy that? They thought it was a rental. Like, can I buy that rental skateboard? And I was like, no, that's my skateboard. You can't buy that. Because they said, hey, is your rental stuff for sale? And I said, well, everything's for sale. Everything's got a number. And he's like, well, I want that skateboard right there. And I was like, you know what? That one's not for sale. There's certain things. I'm not going to sell you my skateboard. I really like that skateboard. I could buy whatever other skateboard, but I've had that one skateboard for years now, and I love it. So I'm not selling it. 130 complete skateboard. Yeah, that's sick. I mean, I've always stocked your price point stuff in the shop, because that's in Rochester. We have 3 skate shops. When I opened, there was 2, but now there's 3. And I don't try to step on the skate shop's toes. I let them cater to their audience, and I cater to mine. So I keep a lot of just cheap replacement stuff and boards for like little kids getting into it. And I tell people, hey, go over to Crudco. Go over to Old Skull. I guess you can go to the other shop if you want, but they don't like me, so I still tell people to go there, but they don't like me. Whatever. I think I still have it. The guy at the counter taught me how to tape the deck. It must have been me. I'm the only employee we ever had, so it had to be me who sold you that skateboard in 2016. Sean in the YouTube chat says, it's awesome hearing how widespread the audience for this is. It's cool seeing a map of locations and dots and followers. You say it would be cool? It'd be cool. You know, when I did the free Make America Skate Again stickers, I saved every address I mailed them to in a document so I could make a map to show you where all 1,500 of my free stickers went. So put that one, save that Google Drive follow in a folder so I can make that video one day. Yeah. I've looked the same for 9 years, so this is the first time in my life I've had facial hair. And I'm doing this stupid facial hair as like a shtick. Honestly, I thought that wearing the stupid captain's hat and having this dumb facial hair would actually help my social media content because I look so ridiculous. And I gotta say, I kind of think it's working. I think it's working, you know. There's a thing you see on social media where there's a bunch of pages I see where it's like these weird looking people. Like you'll see like videos with like crazy anorexic people or someone with like one arm or like, I don't know. It's like a thing on TikTok. So I was like, well, maybe if I look like I'm a crazy person, my videos will do better. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. I tell you what, though, my wife hates it. My wife freaking hates the facial hair. I don't really like the way it feels, but if it gets me a couple $100 a month on Facebook, okay, let's go, dude. Where am I here? Hour 25. I'll take one or two more questions, and then I'll wrap this thing up. You're on to something interesting, people. Always blow up on here. Yeah, I do. Yeah, we'll see. I hope I blow up. There was a kid last night that came from Connecticut just for the party. Yeah, the dude that came from Connecticut on the dirt jumper last night called me today. He left his cowboy boots here. Brand new cowboy boots. And he freaking left them at the skate park. He called me. I put him aside. He's like, I don't know when I'll be there again. Will you hold on to them? I'm like, dude, good pair of cowboy boots. I will hold on to these, my friend. Of course. A post about ramp geometry. Post that about the dig. I don't know what you're saying. Are you good at geometry? I kind of said this in one of my videos the other day. I really don't think anything really has to be any particular way. I think that you can kind of I think you have a lot of leeway when you build a ramp for radius and height and flat bottom and all those things. I think it's really, riders can adjust, a little anti-pump, a little extra this, a little bit of that. Like I think there's a lot more leeway. There's definitely a lot of people out there. And when I was building the skate park, a lot of people showed up very passionate about, you got to build, it has to be this size, it has to be that way. And I'm like, yeah, well, since we assembled my skate park from like 3 other skate parks, I'm like, well, guess what? My 3-foot mini ramp is made from pieces of what was a 4 to 7 foot mini ramp. So that's the radius I have, and that's the radius my ramp is going to be. And we built 2 sides of it, and we took a step back, and we said, how long should this flat bottom be? And I'm like, well, every foot of flat bottom this ramp has is taking away space from on the deck. So we lined up the ramps, and we said, all right, this is how it looks with an 8-foot flat bottom. This is how it looks with a 9-foot flat bottom. This is how it looks with a 10-foot flat bottom. And then I actually wanted 8. Everyone else wanted 10. So we decided to go with 9. And that's how we decided the flat bottom of our mini ramp and the radius. It just is what it was. And it's great. And not everyone, but many people say it's like the best mini ramp they've ever ridden. And it wasn't like I found the golden formula for radius. And then my mini ramp, which people also love, was leftover pieces from the bowl. And the bowl, I'm not even sure what the radius in the bowl is. I think it's 7'6". And that ramp the height of that ramp was basically, I cut it at the height of whichever 2x4 was around 2.5 feet. And that's what decided the height of that. And literally that's it. So I don't think there's like a golden ratio or sweet spot. I do think for box jumps, though, there's definitely like a launch release angle that makes a lot of sense. And you kind of have to, but that's also relative to speed and the gap of the jump. So I don't know, man. I really don't think there is, and anyone who tells you you have to do it a certain way, I think is trying to sell you snake oil. And snake oil is really expensive now with the tariffs. Yeah. I'm about to build the bowl corner on the ongoing project right now. We're 12 videos into the building a skate park series, and eventually we're going to get into me building 2 radius wedge banks and then a bowl corner, and I've never done any of that, so there's definitely going to be some learning curves in there. I'll probably build the first one without the camera on so I don't look completely insane and wrong and stupid in the second one, but that's going to be really exciting. I've never built a bowl corner. Bowl corners are really hard. Think about the geometry of a bowl corner, right? The walls are going away at each other. Say it's even like a 45-degree angle, right? So every one of you can't use a 2x4 in a bowl corner. You have to use a 2x6 because that 2x6, you have to actually scallop. You have to cut out the front of that 2x4 to be the same radius as the jump, right? And then you have a compound miter cut. So that 2x4, each like butt end of the 2x4 is going to be on some angle outwards. But then they also have to be, I don't know if beveled's the right word, but they have to be angled top to bottom and front to back to fit in. So once you figure out what the angles are, my understanding is it's not too bad. But initially setting it up, it's pretty hard because you're trying to go. Let's see, a bowl corner is 90 degrees, right? So then you have to build like 3 or 4 walls. So you take your 90 and you divide it by however many voids you have, and then you probably have to subtract out how many inches of wall there is in between those ones, and then once you figure out that one piece that's the first 2x4, it would go, now the same piece goes on between that one and that one and that one. And then you go up 8 inches and you figure out that one, and then you go that one, that one, that one. So it's going to be really like a tedious process for me to figure it out, but I'm pretty excited to do it because it's about the only thing in the ramp building world I have not done yet is build a bowl corner. So that'll be fun. There's going to be a lot. I can already see all the friggin', cut that one wrong. Whoops, cut that one wrong. But yeah, you could use like a 3D modeling software, and you probably could figure out exactly what those sizes would be beforehand. But like, come on, I don't want to do that. I want to cut a bunch of wood and get mad and learn it with my hands like a man. Yeah. One of my cousins is a math teacher, and she said she brings me up at school because kids are like, what do I need math for? And she's like, oh, well, my cousin owns a skate park, and he has to, know that 8 is divisible, or that 24 or 96 are both divisible by 8. Really, though, building a skate park is like maybe 8th grade math, maybe not even. Prince, we've been doing volunteers every Monday. The next 2 Mondays, skate parks open early because the kids are on winter break, but we're still going to be working on stuff. So Zara's probably going to watch the counter so we can chip away on some of the ramps and stuff. But yeah, if you ever want to come by, just shoot me a message. I think this coming Monday we're planning on working on ramps like probably like 4 to 7 kind of deal. The skate park's open till 7, but I don't want to. It's very, very rare that I have the chance to actually eat dinner with my wife, so we'll probably just work on ramps till about 7 so I can go home and eat. And then maybe sometimes I come back and do more ramp work at night. Sometimes I stay late and do ramp work. Sometimes I stay late and build wheels and just talk for an hour and 30 minutes nonstop while live streaming on TikTok and YouTube at the same time and while building a wheel. And then I still have to remember that when I get home, the cat's outside. So yeah, that's my life. And I replaced a tie rod end of my car today. And Troy was up, my buddy Troy, electrical engineer guy. He was up on the roof today messing with the furnace. We got a new valve modulating valve. Replaced that. The furnace still isn't working right. But luckily it's pretty warm today, so the skate park's pretty warm inside, so we're not going to worry about that till it gets cold again. So you know how it is. Yeah, I think that's about it. That's my life. All right, I'll take one more question. I will tell you though, you're watching me build a bike wheel, and I've done this a million times. It's easy. Changing a tie rod end on your car is really easy. The tie rod, I have a 2005 Ford Focus. The tie rod end for my car was $17. $17, and it took me approximately 10 minutes to change, probably less than that. So, auto mechanic wants like $500 for a job like that. Listen, bud, you could do it. Look it up on YouTube. Find the guy the guy who has the same car as you and made a video about it. Watch that video. Do it yourself. Save yourself $500. You're welcome. Have you always been this passionate, and how did you find? Yeah, I've always been passionate. I don't know. I will say I do think I realized probably when I was 14 or 15 that I was kind of different than most people. And no, this is not me coming out of the closet. I just realized around that age that like I thought about the world differently than the people around me. That was like the age where I started to realize that like my parents weren't like geniuses, and my teachers were just normal people, and that like I don't know. I was just driven and a critical thinker, and I got through school kind of like playing the system, being not doing any homework, but being so nice to my teachers and participating in the classes that they wouldn't have the heart to like fail me. And I did have a passion, for learning and stuff like that. But yeah, I've always been kind of a problem solver, and yeah, I realized I just thought differently than most people when I was like a teenager. But I would say I probably was still solidly, completely an idiot until I was 30. But I think that's a good thing. Really, I think like my philosophy is that I basically want to look back on myself say like in a 5-year window and think, oh man, 5 years ago, I was kind of stupid. Right. I want to have that kind of progress in my life, that every 5 years I have learned more, acquired new skills, hit milestones, just keep progressing somewhere. I want to think that the person I was 5 years ago was kind of an idiot. Maybe not an idiot, but at least not as smart as I am now. So that's kind of my worldview. And owning a skate park is a great way to have to learn how to freaking do anything. And yeah, I feel you. I actually didn't drink until I was 22, I think, because I grew up around a lot of drugs and alcoholism and really not great stuff. So I kind of like really pushed all that stuff away when I was a teenager. I was all straight edge about everything. And then once I started drinking, I probably spent way, way too long. I spent way too many years of my life just the traveling part was cool, but just riding bikes and drinking too much and just working the same. It's a cool job at the bike shop, but I just did the same thing for way too many years without much progress until I finally bucked up and left everything behind and moved to Rochester, and now here we are. So there you go. It's real easy in life, man. It is so easy to just get caught in your groove, and then you just go to work. You do the same thing every day. Your passions fall behind you, and then you start to get a little fat, and you think, oh, I'll start eating better. I'll start working out. I'll skate again. Then another year goes by, and as you get older, it gets harder and harder to get back into it. It is really true that if you don't use it, you lose it. What's that skateboarding quote? Like you didn't, let's see. You didn't stop skateboarding because you got old. You got old because you stopped skateboarding. That is so true. So true. You got to get out and do it. I think it's a good place to stop for today. The hour and 40 minutes of me just rambling while building a wheel. That was awesome. Let's see. Let's look at our numbers here. Did I get 13,000 likes during this live stream? Is that a real thing right now? Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, all right. Thank you, everyone, for checking in. This was my normal Wednesday night live stream, but we did it on Thursday because we had the party yesterday. And I think the spokes are probably going to be too long on this wheel. We'll find that out in a few minutes after the live stream's over. Thank you so much, guys, for checking in. We stream on YouTube and TikTok now, I guess. I'm on every single platform under the name Breaking Free Skate Park. We're on Patreon. If you want to support us on Patreon, you could support us for as little as $5 a month. We also put stuff behind our Patreon when I put out new shirts or the coffee mugs or the coffee collaboration we did. People behind the paywall get first dibs at some of our products when those products drop. When we opened our foam pit last year, the only Patreon subscribers got to ride the foam pit for the first week. So that was really freaking cool. And otherwise, keep grinding. Like and share my videos. Let the people know. Commenting on my videos is the best thing you can do to help me in the algorithm. Even if you don't live around here and you want to help me, get into an argument with someone in the comments. The more comments, the better for me. And yeah, I guess this was BFS Live, episode 118. Subscribe or follow or whatever to catch me next week. And yeah, thank you so much. I don't know which one to end here now because I'm on YouTube. I'm on TikTok. There's 4 cameras. There's all these people. It's midnight. I still got to export this and edit it and get home. And that's my life. Thank you so much. Love you guys. Keep grinding. I don't know which one of these to end first. Let's end TikTok. Bye, TikTok. Bye-bye. Bye, TikTok. Cool. TikTok's gone. Apparently, I earned 32 cents during that live stream. Wow. YouTube, I still have 11 concurrent viewers, so let's see. I bet you Ben's in there. Who else tells me they always watch it? Dude. Let's see. What did that say? I don't know why they told me. It said I had 591 viewers in my TikTok stream. I gained 9 new followers. Apparently, I got 100 diamonds, whatever that means on TikTok. I have no idea. TikTok's so weird. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching and listening and whatever. Keep grinding.